What are some of the strategies or loopholes that are like okay to talk about on camera that most people are unaware of that would really like get their attention and kind of wake them up to this world and how it works?
Well, I would say one thing for insurance agents specifically is that the majority of them don't have an LLC to operate because they think they have to be an agency. So they operate as sole proprietorships and they use 1099s and they get 1099s. They usually file what they call a Form Schedule C on a tax return. That's self-employment taxes added to that, which is basically a substitute for payroll taxes if you're a W-2 wage earner. So just knowing that, not having an LLC or not electing to be maybe like an S Corp is causing them to pay 15% more in taxes. And that's probably 95% of insurance agents.
Welcome back to the Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. Today's guest is going to help you do a few things, man. He'll help you stack some freaking paper. And when you stack it, he's going to keep you from giving it all to the I, R, and the S. Please welcome back to the channel. Love this freaking cat. Mr. BYOE. We'll see what that means. David Perez.
Hey, man. Thank you, Cody, for having me. I appreciate you, man.
Dude, you too, brother. Okay. Also, it stands for Build Your Own Economy. But when I was on his podcast, I think it had something to do with bringing your own edibles. I don't know. Either way, you should check out that episode because that was the wildest freaking podcast. If you search, if they search what, David Perez, Cody Askins on YouTube, you'll find it.
Yeah, it's a really good episode. It's actually one of our most popular ones because Cody went wild. It was Cody gone wild.
It was Cody gone wild, freaking rogue, or whatever, exposed, whatever you want to call it, man. Dude, I like
we should have done that. Exposed.
That's
Cody
right.
Askins.
Yes.
Clickbait.
It was nuts, man. It's nuts. Dude, I'm excited to be interviewing today, bro. Appreciate your time. Thank you for being on here.
Thank you, sir.
Dude, how'd you become such a genius about, helping people? I mean, a lot of people make money, man, but a lot of people waste it. You help them keep it. You help them you help me spend it on stuff I want to spend it on versus paying it in taxes.
Yep. First off, Cody, I think there's I've come to realize there's this thing called the rich trap. And the rich trap is where you make money and you make maybe not a ton of money, but you started to make money. You're probably first generation wealth like you and I. You're starting to see the fruits of your labor. Yep. You have some money in the bank, and then there comes some decision making. And the decisions are, what do I do with the money? Right. And it's first inclination, by the way, all of us is what? To go blow some of it, to go on a vacation, to have some nice things, to enjoy life because we've been trained that all our lives. Like you see it all over TV, enjoy life. So we do that. And then it's like, well, I have this other money probably, or at least some. What do I do with it? And that is like the trap, because you have money on the sidelines thinking I need to do something. And I'm assuming you've been there because I've been there, which is I want to do something. I don't know what to do. And then you stay paralyzed. Have you been there before?
Gosh, yeah.
Well, by the way, it's not a bad thing. It's just we get there because we're afraid to make a mistake. We're afraid to make the wrong move. I see this like every day with the clients that I consult because I saw it in myself for a long time, just paralyzed, like deer in headlights. You've been there?
Oh my gosh, too many times. It drives me nuts too.
So I've come to see this called the rich trap, is what I call the rich trap. You get to this point, you make money, you start enjoying life, you have money on the sidelines, you don't know what to do. And you get paralyzed because you're afraid to make a mistake. You're afraid to be judged. You're afraid to be criticized. You're afraid you're afraid to take an action because it could be the wrong ones. And everybody that you like, care about, or don't even care about on social media is going to judge you. So you just stay paralyzed. And then what happens is you do it long enough. You have your uncle come around the corner and knock on your door and say, hey, man, you got to give me your 30 or 40%. And his name is Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam says, give me my 30 or 40% because you've been holding out on me. I know you made some money. You're rich now because rich people pay taxes. And now you're rich, man. You're rich, Cody. So give me my 30 or 40% because that's what you owe me. And your job is to do it because that's what we've been trained. And that's just how it's always been. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
So my thought is most people live rich all their lives, holding their money back, living a great lifestyle, never investing in anything, at least meaningful, that would give them any tax benefits, writing big fat checks to Uncle Sam because that's what rich people do. And I think there's another way. I think that you should be thinking wealthy, not rich. And wealthy people don't pay taxes. Rich people do.
Let's go, dude. This has got my attention. I'm gonna stop right there real quick. Okay. So for those who are listening, man, here's what I want you to do. Okay. If you're like, dude, I am tired of giving money to the IRS. I want to get wealthy. And David Perez is gonna fix that problem. I love this cat. I trust this cat. He can freaking help you. There's a link in the description right now to book a strategy call to talk to David and his team about how they can help you stop paying tax.
Yeah. You know, hey, by the way, before I got on this call, I had one of my buddies who's in the tax industry, he's a CPA, message me and he says, hey, look, I just thought about this. He goes, you know, death is certain, but taxes aren't anymore.
Let's go, dude. You know what? I thought taxes and death were both certain.
And I said, that was pretty good, bro. You know,
until I met you. Until I met you.
I was like, that was really good. So yeah, man, today what I do is I help people that make money, high income earners who think they're rich or who are stuck in the rich trap, avoid getting trapped there forever, get out of it, take more money home because they stop paying as much taxes or as little to none, keep that money and invest it in assets that then turn into wealth along the way.
I love it. I love it. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know why they wouldn't love it. You know, how did you end up in this game, bro? How did you end up doing this and helping people like me and all these others with like try to become wealthy and stop paying tax?
I've had an interesting journey, but I'll kind of start in 2006 where it really began is where I got into real estate. So I love real estate, and I think you do too. I know you own some properties. I see your wife and you are doing good.
Yeah, well,
you know, real estate. Yeah, I see it, man. Well, I love real estate. So I got into real estate in 2006 thinking that was my future and I was going to become an agent because agents apparently made money. I got my license. I didn't have money at the time and I still didn't have any inclination of having it. I thought this was my starting point. And within 2 years, the market crashed from under me and I didn't know what I was going to do with my career. So I got introduced to this tax industry through a buddy of mine. And I didn't really want to get into taxes because me personally, I wasn't like a numbers guy growing up and I didn't like aspire to be in taxation. But what happened was I was exposed to this concept of a recession, right? We were both in 2008 and we're going through somewhat of one right now. Yes. And what I was thinking about at the time was I need to find an industry that doesn't have a recession. And so the tax industry was it. And so I got into the tax business through a franchise in 2008, and I started doing personal tax returns, just helping people. And I did my first tax season. We had about 850 clients in our first year, which is very significant for any business in general, but for a tax business that was out of ordinary. I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. You know, I was like, man, I'm going to knock this out of the park. So I decided that I wanted to make this my career and I expanded my operation. I went from one little office to 15 locations over the next 7 years. We were doing 800 in our first year. We were around 7,000 in 2015. We had over 300 employees. I was growing and scaling fast. And then it hit me in 2015, which was the largest tax bill I've ever had. And it was a horrible bill because, to be truthful, it was $140,000. And I had never.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling, and it freaking sucks. Oh my gosh! If you guys are listening, and you know the feeling. Let us know in comments below.
Comment below. You know, you don't have to tell us how much, but it was the worst feeling in the world.
No, dude, tell us how much. Don't be hiding. Don't be hiding stuff, man. Like this is a transparent podcast.
I like it. Okay, tell me how much you owed. I like that. And we'll comment. Let's see whose is bigger. Well, so Cody, I get this tax burden or bill at this year, and it's in April, just like most of us do. And I'm like, crap. And I thought to myself, I was smart. I was already doing taxes, so I couldn't realize I couldn't really accept that I was that ignorant. That I was that ignorance, not even a good word for me. I was an idiot, and I hadn't planned to avoid paying taxes because I didn't know how. I was always preparing taxes. I never planned for taxes. And so I went and did the exact same thing that most of us would do. I went to a CPA that I trusted, which was a mentor of mine. And I said, hey, man, you've got to be able to help me here. Like, help me figure this out. I need to not pay this money. And to be honest with you, why I didn't need that bill? Because I didn't have the money. You ever been there? You spent the money before you gave it away. So,
oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. So before we jump back into David's story, okay, really quick, since he brought it up, for those that don't know, I made 117 grand in my first 8 months in college in doing insurance. I went to a local tax expert, in quotations, down the street from my office. They said, okay, based on our software, you owe $20,000. And I'm like, mother of pearl, I spent all the money. I don't have anything left. What are you talking about? I owe 20 grand. And then I go figure out how to do my own taxes because I didn't know David freaking Perez yet. And then I go do my own taxes and I figure out a way through like H&R Block or whatever the software was to pay $8,000 by figuring out how to do it on my own because I didn't know this cat. So I get what he's saying, and I want to go right back into his story because this is so good.
So that, by the way, that happens to that was me, right? So I was like, crap, I'm scrambling. I go to a CPA and he just tells me, okay, I can help. So we sit down, he looks over my paperwork. He says, all right, this is what you're going to do. You're going to pay your taxes. And I said, well, like that's actually not why I'm here. I'm trying to figure out how to not pay my taxes. And he says, well, unfortunately, we're too late for that. So you're just going to have to write the check. And I said, I can't accept that. I got to figure something out. And he was very adamant about it. He said, you made money, you pay your taxes. And to the point where he got pretty aggressive with me. And because we were friends at some level. And he said, look, you just pay your effing taxes. And if you don't pay your effing taxes, don't even think about voting next year. And I was like struck in the heart because, it was like, wow, this is a good friend, somebody I trusted, somebody I knew very well. And he didn't say anything that offended me. He said everything that he should have said at the time, except the fact that he didn't give me a strategy to not do it again. So I said, there's got to be a way. So I paid the taxes, like he said. And over the course of time, to be honest with you, because I didn't have the money to pay it at one time. So I paid it in lump sum payments. And over the next 5 years, all I did is focus on ways to avoid paying taxes personally. And along the way, I was preparing thousands of returns. In fact, by 2020, we had prepared over 50,000 tax returns. So it wasn't like we weren't doing taxes. We were just doing tax returns, not doing strategy. And in 2020, when the pandemic hit, an opportunity arose where we all went virtual. And when we went virtual, it kind of changed how I would acquire customers, how I grew my practice, and who was attracted to me. So more people were being attracted to me for business strategy and for tax strategy than ever before. And I realized that there were more people out there with these challenges like I was experiencing than I had ever seen. And I said, there's got to be a way to help these guys. So I stepped up. I made sure that the things that I knew I would implement for my clients, and it turned into a tax strategy business for me now. And so for the last 3 years, all I've done is help high income earners avoid paying taxes legally through tax strategy. And I tied it back into something that I love the most, which is real estate, by using real estate.
So cool.
So that's how I got here, man.
I love it, man. I love that's brought you here. I love that because of all those experiences and, that we've met and been able to do more together. Like, it's cool. It's really cool. What would you say if someone's watching? What would you say is like the number one thing that they like don't know or that they need to know that like you guys help them with? If they're like, man, what's so special about this David Perez cat?
Well, I would say that the first thing that they need to know is that it isn't like the tax code is written to benefit investors and business owners. Those are the two groups that it benefits. It doesn't benefit W-2 wage earners. It does not benefit them at all. I mean, there's some benefits because you get benefits from the companies, but personally in a tax return, it doesn't do anything for you. So first thing to know is these are two areas that we have to focus on. So if you're a business owner or investor or have high income and you want to open a business, then there is a strategy for you. Like there is a strategy. Even if you're a W-2 wage earner, we can help you. But you have to know that, like, I wish there were more people out there yelling at the top of their lungs that the IRS isn't out there to take your money. They're actually giving you the rule book and saying, just play by the rules, man. And most people aren't playing by the rules because they don't even want to read the book. And that's okay. You don't need to. But because that's why I'm here. But the truth is that if you knew the rules, you would rule. Those who know the rules rule. And we as taxpayers, our job is to play the rules at the highest level. And I think if you get that, then you're more inclined to play the game at a higher level.
Yes. What are some of the strategies or loopholes that are like okay to talk about on camera that most people are unaware of that would really like get their attention and kind of wake them up to this world and how it works?
Well, I would say one thing for insurance agents specifically is that the majority of them don't have an LLC to operate because they think they have to be an agency. So they operate as sole proprietorships and they use 1099s and they get 1099s. They usually file what they call a Form Schedule C on a tax return. That's self-employment taxes added to that, which is basically a substitute for payroll taxes if you're a W-2 wage earner. So just knowing that, not having an LLC or not electing to be maybe like an S corp is causing them to pay 15% more in taxes. And that's probably 95% of insurance agents. That's like 95. Because the other 5% are agency owners who and that's because the agency owners didn't figure it out. The only reason that they have figured it out accidentally is because they had to get their agency license, which got them to get an LLC. That's the only reason they figured it out. It wasn't because they were doing it for tax strategy. They were doing it for business strategy. So if I could show you how to do it for tax strategy, even if you're just an independent contractor, even if you don't have a downline, but you're making money, which is a very large portion of producers today, right there, I can save you 15% plus your what you would call your effective tax rate, which is probably in somewhere between 25 and 30%. So if you made $100,000, I can already save you 30.
Wow.
That's just one strategy. And I already know it for all insurance agents. I already know it.
That's awesome. Which means if you're like, dude, this cat has got my attention, go to the description, click the link below, and book a strategy call to chat, man. What would hurt? Like, what would be the negative or con or disadvantage of like booking a call and talking to your team?
Well, there wouldn't be. To be truthful, here's what I know. We're not a fit for everyone. To be truthful, I mean, there are only, and the reason I say that is it's not because we can't help everyone. It's just sometimes people are already doing a lot of the right things, and all we can do is augment and help them. So even if you get on a call and we find that we're just maybe there's not enough savings for us to give you, at least we're going to give you pointers and tips to get you in the right direction. If you're already doing it, how to amplify it. Like that's my goal on our calls. When you get on a call with me or my team, our goal is to make sure that you leave the call better than you came. And if we can work together, we're going to find a way to do it, because that's our goal too, right? We want to help you. And I know we can help a lot of insurance agents, producers out there, agency owners. We have one of the largest agency owners in the state of Texas who's one of our clients. So we know a lot about insurance. And myself, I've been in the insurance agency business for 9 years as an agency owner, with contracts in every state. We're just selling our PNC business, by the way. We close on the 31st of this month, or is there 30 days this month? Maybe it's 30 of this month. Whatever the last day of this month is, we close on it. So I know this game. I know the exit strategy. I know the tax business well enough to say I can apply these two together, and I can show you how to maximize your tax savings on your insurance agency.
I love that, dude. That's also why we have you speaking at 8% Nation Dallas this year at the end of July, dude. We're like, what are
excited,
we like? What are we like, man, dude? We're like 44 days away.
Are you ready? That's the question for you.
I'm ready, bro. I am ready. Oh my gosh, I'm ready. It's crazy.
I'm ready to light it up for you, bro. I think, by the way, I think all agents out there, if they watch this podcast and they're not in the room, you better have a damn good excuse, like you're having a baby, or
even there, have it at the event, man. Like, you know,
there you go. Cody will bring the baby up and it will serenade and everything, right?
That's right. That's right.
I do believe, by the way, all agents need to come to 8%. And this is not a plug. It's really the truth. Like, I think that there's more to be said that from networking than anything else in any conference. The network alone is what you need. You need the network. If you're not out networking for your business, who is? And the network of agents is killer. Agency owners, IMOs, there's all kinds of people there. Now, I get it. Everybody's there to sell each other something. I get it. But the truth is, the cool thing about it, Cody, is I like going in environments where everybody's kind of selling something, because it gives me perspective to know how I can be a better salesperson.
Absolutely.
And a recruiter. a recruiter, a salesperson, a presenter. I think that's, if everybody went to conferences with that mentality, I think they would succeed more out of every conference.
1,000%. Yes. 1,000%. I totally agree. What are we missing? What are we missing? I know we got a couple minutes left. What are we missing? What should we add? And how would you like to wrap up and close this?
Well, I'll tell you, there's two things that we didn't talk about. We talked about taxes. There's two other components of what we do, and I think are very important to this wealth trap, the escape trap, if you will. Number one is you need to have asset protection. So a lot of the time, I find that we'll meet high income earners who don't protect their assets. So they may have a rental property or they have a business, but it doesn't have proper entity structure. They're either a sole proprietorship, like we mentioned, or they are an LLC, but they don't have proper insurance coverage, or they don't have the right ownership percentages. Like there's all these little tweaks that one lawsuit takes it all, one bad tax bill closes and bankrupts you. And we want to make sure we prevent that. So it's very important we talk about that. And then number two, or the second thing we didn't talk about, is wealth building. I think wealth is the accumulation of assets. And I love real estate as the number one asset because it's tangible. Well, there's four reasons, right? Number one, it appreciates in value. As it grows every year, it's going to go up probably 3 to 5%. It has equity built every time somebody makes a payment. So if you have tenants making the payments, your equity is going up because your loan value is going down, or your loan amount's going down, your value is staying the same or going higher. You've got cash flow, which comes from the rental itself. Hopefully it's a lot. And then last but not least, you get the tax savings. And so we got these four components to real estate that I think every single person that I meet should be in real estate at some level, because real estate is foundationally the best way to save taxes and build wealth at the same time. You can't get that by putting your money in the S&P. You can't get it by putting it in an annuity. I'm so sorry for you insurance people. You can't get it by putting it in some, whole life that, what do they call it? Infinite banking. Although those are great strategies, they don't offer tax benefits. Those are usually post-tax benefits, right? You already paid the tax. I'm talking about tax benefits today. They can lower your tax liability now and provide for wealth in the future and cash flow.
I love that, man. I like all that, man. I like wealth. I like cash flow. I like building assets. But I also like saving money on taxes immediately too. I love that.
Your wife's a real estate professional. Remember we talked about that?
That's right, man. That's exactly right. Well, dude, you're what else? Was there one other thing we didn't mention?
No, it was the two things. But okay. I would say to your audience, I definitely am thankful for having the relationship with Cody. I think that there is a lot to be said about a gentleman like this growing and scaling in the insurance business. I was calling it tax business. In the insurance business, it takes a lot of guts for him to put on events like this. So if you haven't got your tickets to any of his events, any of them, because he's got he's P.T. Barnum, he's out there having shows. If you haven't got a ticket, get your tickets now, man. Stop hesitating. There's so many people out there on the fence. You can't win the game if you're not even in it, man. Get in the game.
That's it, bro. Dude, I love it. I love what you're doing. I appreciate everything you're doing. And I appreciate you being on today's podcast and hanging out.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, Cody.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening. Also here, before you quit, before you leave, okay, go book a strategy call with David's team. The link is below. Huge thank you to Mr. BYOE. How about you guys go build your own economy, build some true wealth, do something special, and we will see you on the next podcast. Adios.
So step one is picking a niche, right? So for myself, right, being an agent, frustrated with leadership, lack of a system and predictability, that's where I went to make sure that any other agent that came in, they were never in Arturo's shoes to not know how to get customers. It's crazy to think that you can grow a business